Hello. First time catching it live. Congratulations. Congratulations. You did it. Hello, Pock. Skep, Ike, Dollar Rock, Harry, all the usual suspects. Yes, I'm still finishing writing this. What's up, Brush? Am I doing Low Tide City predictions? We'll see. Proud idiots in chat. We're all idiots in chat today. Popcast more important than class and work? I don't know. Depends on what kind of class and work you hear. bought some LTC snacks. I think somebody posted a thing. There's like, you can buy a snack pack at the resort for like $55. And it's just like a fancy bag that's got some Oreos and some other candy in it. No, I think it's going to spend $5 at a gas station. Right across the road. And then again, you can't bring food into the venue. So all right, we're here. While you're going to sleep, hey, shout outs to Australia. Ever since Lois, we've always had some sort of Australian viewership on the Popcast. It's an international stream, just like Low Ink. By the way, since you guys are here live, I'll give you a little pre-show tidbit here. Whenever we did have lag rules, the only complaints we got were from teams that were complaining about a team from a different region. I wonder why they're lagging for you, or why there's latency. Maybe it's because they're on the other side of the continent. Are we just going to start banning teams that live in a different region from you? Is that what you guys want? Because that's essentially what you guys are going to try to do. Just saying. Love it when people complain about latency and Low Ink. Go play in Squid Junction. It's an NA-only tournament. That being said, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be a live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're making a tier list of the weapons in Splatoon 3 already, posting your Low Ink drip pics regardless of your placement, drawing pictures of that Octoling girl that's wearing the beanie hat and the purple smiley face shirt, whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Some people in chat, and by some people I mean Falcofire, were asking about if I was going to do a Low Tide City preview, which is coming up this weekend. I did a preview for Riptide, and I wouldn't mind. Obviously I wouldn't be able to fit it in today anyways. There's so much to talk about from Low Ink that there's just not enough time to do an extended episode and preview the teams that are signed up for Low Tide City. There will be a Low Tide City preview of the teams that are playing in it. I will be a part of it. It will not be on the Popcast, and that's all I can say at this time. So stay tuned for a little special thing coming out eventually. That's all I can say. But hey, to those of you that are going to Low Tide City this weekend, or are going to be watching it on IPL or whatever, if you're actually going there, let me give you a quick tidbit. Feel free to come up to me and say hi. Feel free to introduce yourself. I'm going there with the sole purpose of meeting new people IRL. That was one of my joys of going to Riptide last year, is just meeting all of you lovely people. Here's the thing, though. A lot of people at Riptide came up to me, and the first thing they said was, "Pop gun?" And just stared at me for a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's who I am. I wasn't wearing a hat. You know this bald head. I know you do. Tell me who you are. If you come up to me and introduce yourself, the sooner you can tell me who you are, the better. Because if you just sit here and say, "Pop gun," like, yeah, I know who I am. Who the hell are you? I can't interact in the conversation until you tell me who you are. If you tell me who you are, it's going to be great. Because I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, you're playing with this team. How are you feeling? Are you guys excited about playing? All blah, blah, blah. I can start a conversation. So the sooner you can spit your name out of your mouth, the sooner it becomes not awkward for all of us involved. That would be cool. Just saying. News of some tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. Hello, Rizzo. Good morning to you. Early morning. Little Squid League 20 is going to be on May 28th and 29th. It is I guess the big Little Squid League they tried to do last December. This has a starting prize pool of $500. Holy moly. We'll be talking more about this in the coming weeks. I mean, it's about a month away. There's no sense doing an in-depth segment about it yet. But there's definitely a lot of stuff there that we want to talk about. Make sure you guys sign up for it, please. I actually want to see this tournament happen this time around. I want to see this tournament happen. Now, if you can't play Little Squid League in that weekend and you're like, dang, I can't get a shot at winning that kind of cash, don't worry. This new this other tournament is going on at literally the same exact day, weekend, 2-day tournament that weekend. 20XX has a $400 prize pool, and it is an open invite tournament. It's being streamed by Dapple Productions, but I don't think they're running it. I think it's kind of like how IPL does with Squidboards, where we kind of stream it and maybe we like assist with some staff stuff, but it's not like officially an IPL tournament. I think that's what's going on here with Dapple Productions and 20XX. But regardless, if you're not doing anything on May 28th or 29th, don't sit here and complain about the scene dying, because it ain't. Oddly enough, both these tournaments going on at the same time use clips from the podcast in their trailers. To be fair, Dapple Productions did reach out to me and asked if permission to use one of my clips first, which I did. I gave it to him. Happy to help out with that. Little Squid League, of course, Jub is more than welcome to use anything. I trust Jub and Little Squid League. If they want to use any of my stuff for their trailers, go right ahead. The rest of you guys, though, I don't know you. Ask before you use me for your trailers. But just find it funny. Is the Popcast just going to be used for like documentaries and stuff when we look back on competitive Splatoon, or people just going to use snippets of the Popcast for whatever? So be it. History being made here. Maybe I should actually, now that I know that this is going to be actually used for promotional stuff, maybe I should actually shave at some point and put more consideration into what I'm wearing. Unless I don't. Today we're going to be recapping Low Inc. Everything that happened from Saturday, Sunday, early Sunday, late Sunday, maybe a little bit of Sunday night. I don't know. We'll talk about all of it until I decide I don't want to talk anymore. We'll also hit on In the Zone, Squid Junction, all that good stuff, the weekly recap. But first, So where do you guys want to start? A lot of interesting storylines took place over the course of this weekend for Low Ink. How about we let's start off at the very beginning of Sunday before we get to the apology that I owe to the Molly Whoppers. Joy. Let's talk about how we got up to that grand finals first. The underground play-in bracket game thing. Yeah, that was the actual thing. That actually happened. we had a underground play-in match. So what's the story of this? Essentially, after Swiss stage, I believe it was Group B, we're looking at the standings, and which is why I always tell you guys in Help Desk, don't come to Help Desk and say, oh, look, I automatically made alpha brackets. Like, no, there's always little things that you don't realize that we need to kind of clarify first before we announce, like, if who officially made what bracket. Sometimes you look at the standings on just like the results page of Battlefy, and then you click the actual standing buttons, and sometimes those change because they'll add in new tiebreakers on the standing page that they don't have on like the normal result page. So you never trust Battlefy until we tell you made a specific bracket. So we look at Group B and we notice something kind of interesting. The team that finished in the 8th spot, Delicious Nuggets, and the team that finished in the 9th spot, Pajamas, were 100% tied. Same record, 4-2, which you always have in those two slots. Same exact opponent win percentage, and same exact personal win percentage. Now, as you know, the number 8 slot makes alpha bracket. The number 9 spot makes beta bracket. So we're looking at that, and we're confused. We're like, okay, so how did they determine the third tiebreaker? I've always said on the Popcast, because it was my understanding during Swiss, the hidden third tiebreaker came down to what your normal seed was. So if you were already seeded like number 2 before the tournament even started, you're going to win that third tiebreaker over somebody who's like number 6 or something like that. That's what I thought the case was. We looked into it, and that wasn't true. Pajamas was officially the number 2 seed for Swiss, and I believe Delicious Nuggets was number 5. Now, as I've said this a million times, the actual seed number you get for Swiss in Low Ink, it means nothing. It means nothing. I don't even know who the number 1 seed was officially during the Swiss stage because we don't put them in like that. Again, we put in the alpha teams first so that round 1 is supposed to be a little bit of a curb stomp. You very rarely see a 1-2 or a 2-1 result in Swiss on round 1. Because it should be somewhat scripted a little bit. Of course, round 2 through whatever seeds mean absolutely nothing to any of those people running Battlefy. So you get that. So, but like the actual seed you get, it means absolutely nothing. So it should be used as a tiebreaker for Low Ink anyways. But as we found out, it wasn't used. It wasn't the third tiebreaker. So we're sitting here scratching our head in VC, and we're like, why did it give Delicious Nuggets the nod over Pajamas? We legit had no idea what the third tiebreaker was. Magic was in VC with us, and at the time he pointed out, I bet it's because Delicious Nuggets comes first in the alphabet over Pajamas. And, there's no way to prove or deny that claim, but we were like, that might be it. Honestly, that might be it. And that did not sit well with any of us. If that was the case, if alphabetical order was like the true third tiebreaker, all of you idiots in chat would be changing your names, right? Like Ocean 7 would now be known as Atlantic Ocean 7. My Lag Paradise would now be known as A Lag Paradise. Aquatic Vanguard would be Aquatic Vanguard, just to make sure they got a little bit more in there. And think about the Splat-A-Lot crew. Splat-A-Lot A has port priority over every other Splat-A-Lot team. They would just have to change themselves to a Splat-A-Lot. Like, if you guys found out that alphabetical order did like give a little bit of an advantage in some sort of fashion, you guys would do it. I would do it too. Are you kidding me? Destiny troops, A Destiny Troops. I don't know. Maybe the dot. If you put like a dot in your name, the dot would come before an A as well. We didn't want to deal with that. We didn't want to set the precedent that was going to happen. So we're like, okay, we need to come up with a tiebreaker for these two teams. And I don't know who suggested. I think it was Vincent who suggested it. That we do just like let them play each other one time and see what happens. The first thing we did was, since they're in the same group, we looked to see if they played each other. So if they had like played each other already, we would have just given the nod to whoever won the head-to-head kind of matchup. That would have been fair. But they didn't play each other. So Vincent, I believe, suggested it. Let's just have them play each other one more time. And JPEG and I were like, I like that idea. I don't know what they think, but we liked it. Now, the decision was best of one or best of three. Some people were saying best of three, and I was like, I don't know if that's fair to do best of, well, I mean fair, but it's I don't know. That's a lot more games to be playing. And we gave them the option. I reached out to both teams. I brought them into a private DM, and I was like, look, here's the situation. We don't have a rule for this, but there is that rule at the bottom of every tournament. Every tournament has this rule at the very bottom that says, we reserve the right to make up crap as we go along. That's essentially what it translates to. And I said, we are flexing this rule. We're just making up this play-in game. And the question is, do you guys want to play it right now? Like as soon as Swiss ended on Saturday, or do you want to play it tomorrow, 30 minutes before the brackets go live? And they agreed to do it on Sunday before the bracket went live. But the reason best of one over best of three, I don't want a team playing a best of three 30 minutes before the tournament actually starts, because that's a little bit more draining, it's a little bit more stressful, and it doesn't give you as much time. The best of one, yeah, you get it over with, and then you got 25 minutes to like decompress and get yourself set up and mentally ready. Like, okay, here's our opponent, let's start preparing for it. So the best of one, I think, is a little bit better than the best of three. And you might be saying, well, aren't you putting a little too much on the line for that? I don't know. If you're completely tied after Swiss, you've already played 18 games. I feel like only getting one more for 19 games is fair. Just a fair head-to-head. Why Splat Zones at Mako Mart? We determined that was the best tiebreaker map. We just felt like that's Splatoon 2's version of Final Destination. Could it have favored one team or the other? Possibly. But again, if you give each team like in a full day to prepare for Splat Zone's Mako Mart, I feel like that's a little bit more fair as well. And of course, we always put Splat Zone's Mako in grand finals, either like in game one or the bracket reset, or the first bracket or the bracket reset. So if you want to win low ink, at some point you got to be really good at Splat Zone's Mako anyways. We're always going to have that in there, at least for the end of Splatoon 2. So there you go. We set it up and they played, and I didn't record it. I hosted it. And we didn't stream it, but we did stream it in like a Discord VC, which like 50 of you joined. Does it ping you when we create an event in a Discord VC? I don't understand how you guys join it so quickly. But some of you did see it. I forgot to record it, so it doesn't exist anymore. It's just an imaginary game that doesn't show up in Battle.fi, and you'll never see it again. But I will tell you this, it was really good. It was a good, close back and forth set between those two teams. Delicious Nuggets ultimately just holding on and getting the win right there. Will it happen again, I guess is the question. Well, here's the thing. Kraken Mayer, while we were going through the rest of the brackets on Sunday, was able to find what the actual tiebreaker is. There is an actual third tiebreaker that it doesn't show you, but you can look it up on Battle.fi. Here's what it is. It is your opponent's win percentage. Now, just let that sink into your brain. You got to think about that for a second. Opponent's win percentage? What? Okay, so essentially what that means is all 6 teams that you played, take their opponent win percentage and get the average of that, and then compare that to the other team you're tied with, And it's like, what? Okay. And it doesn't show, you can't look up that number. It's not going to show you that number. It's just going to say, hey, just trust us. Your opponent's opponents did not play teams that were as good as the tie-breaking opponent's team did. In that order, you paying attention to all that stuff. So, okay, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying screw that. I'm not going to, if somebody comes to help desk and say, how come I'm in beta and they're in alpha? Well, because the teams you played teams that sucked worse than the other team. Like, what the hell does that mean? So I understand. Look, I understand Battlefy has to have that tiebreaker in. They have to just, they can't just let it sit. They have to come up with something else. Is there a fourth hidden tiebreaker? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think you can. At that point, maybe just flip a coin. I don't know what other variables you can do. Maybe it's your opponent's opponent win percentage or something like that. I have no idea. So we'll talk about it, but I liked the play-in match. I did. I liked it. Now, again, if they played earlier and they played like head-to-head, I would just let them go at. I would just say, you already beat them in Swiss. We're going to give you the tiebreaker. But if that doesn't exist, I don't know. I kind of like the play-in game. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that gives you a little bit more control. Now again, I've always said the only people that complain about tiebreakers are losers. But there has to actually be a tiebreaker rule to complain about in this sense. So, and nobody complained. Hats off to Pajamas and Delicious Nuggets. They knew we pulled that out of our ass and they went along with it. Would we do it again? I think we would. Honestly, if that exact situation happened again, I think we might do it again. Give them the option of, hey, do you want to do it right now or do you want to wait till tomorrow morning and do it? And if there's some sort of like, well, we can't do it right now or tomorrow morning, we're just going to be like, all right, fine. We're going to give it to the other team then because they can be available. There has to be something. I don't want to do a coin flip. I really don't want to do a coin flip. I want you guys to earn whatever spot you can. And I don't want to have to explain math beyond math in help desk to describe why you made beta instead of alpha. My goodness. So that happened. And, Delicious Nuggets win that match, so they're placed in as the number 16 seed going up against the number 1 seed. And now I wonder, playing in a best of ones match, to start off Sunday is probably extremely stressful and unfun when you think about it. But if you were to win that, that's probably a huge shot of adrenaline right into your arm. That's probably a great feeling to win a best of one do or die set. So you go into your Delicious Nuggets, you go into this matchup against GG, wasn't it? 2-0. Boom. 16 over number 1 seed. Get out of our way. Next up, who do they play next? Blob Obler Bathory. 3-0. Goodbye. Aquatic Vanguard. Close match on stream. Game 5. Boom. We're going on to winners finals, baby. We're riding this momentum. And then they ran into Molly Whoppers. And it's like, uh-oh. Now, before we talk about Molly Whoppers, I want to give a little bit more credit to the Delicious Nuggets here for their roster change. But they were riding all of this momentum with Delta, their Charger player, their cracked Charger player that was lighting up. Did you see that clip of them just like splatting one player on the reef and then doing like a little hop step and immediately killing somebody else? It was like, dang, this dude is lighting people up. And then you go up against a team that is running a comp that makes you realize, oh, right, this is why we'd never see, there's only like a handful of Charger players outside of Low Inc. It's like, oh, right, because that comp exists. Double missiles, double armor. You're constantly running for your life, and you have to hit everybody twice if you want to kill them. Oh, right. And this is where the genius of the Delicious Nuggets comes into play. They've been not getting carried by that player, but they've been riding with the momentum of that player, that Charger player, all tournament long. And then they ran into a team where they were just like, you can't play against these guys. You cannot play against these guys at all. We have to bench you because their comp just completely eliminates you from the game. So they benched that player. The first 2 games in that winners finals were not close. They were getting run out of the bracket. And then they switched their comp. Let's say, let's just go more meta. Let's just do double K shot and just run edit. And even though they lost that 3rd game, I knew if they got to a grand finals, it was going to be a lot more close than what those first 2 games indicated. Because it's like, okay, now we know how to play. We used winners finals to figure out how to play you. And that 3rd game, really close, barely won by the Mollywhoppers. But once they figured out we can't use one of our best players against your comp and we got to switch it up, they switched it up and they were just as effective. You'll like to see teams with deep rosters maybe able to make adjustments. And that's key. We really don't see low-rank teams make adjustments. We don't. We sometimes just see them, well, this is what we do, and if the other team can just beat it, they just beat it, and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, nice adjustment to make there. Benefit of having a deep roster and somebody who can just come off the bench and be ready to go. Very nice there for the delicious Nuggets. Now, to my old Mollywhoppers. My bad. I put you at number 10. And I'll be honest, I just barely put you guys at number 10. I put you there just because there was nobody else I could put there. I looked at the teams that had signed up at that time, and I was like, yeah, Mollywhoppers is a top 10 team for sure. But they've never really done anything. They've always made alpha bracket, but never really did that well on Sunday, which is fair. A lot of teams make alpha bracket, but haven't really snapped just yet and kind of crossed that bridge into becoming a legit contender. So what happened here? How did Mollywhoppers go from a team that struggles to win a single game on Sunday to just blowing the doors off of everybody and dominating this tournament Saturday and Sunday combined? Well, it turns out this is not your mommy's Mollywhoppers. I looked at the roster that they had here. If you look at the roster they had in that grand finals, the 5 players they used, Strawberry and Footman were on Snowfall before under different names, which is fine. You can have different names. You can change your IGN as long as it matches on Battlefy. We don't care. As long as you're not using your main account and you're not using an alt, you can change your name all you want as long as everything lines up. So those 2 players on Snowfall. You had Smile, who spent some time on INKD, and you had Duck, who was a player we all learned about. A lot of people in chat knew who Duck was. I had no idea. Went back and looked at him. Apparently, last played for a team called Riptide. No, not the event Riptide. Before the event Riptide, there was a team called Riptide who played in the tournaments long, long ago, early in the stage. So it's a very old team that only farts like me would know about. But all 4 of those players were not on Mollywhoppers' roster last month. I looked it up. All 4 of those players were brand new to Mollywhoppers this month from last month, which is fine. They're all low-ink eligible, all 100% low-ink eligible. You guys can trade players all you want. And also, there was a 5th player who played, Boshin, of currently of the Shiver Me Inklings, who did play in at least in winners finals and grand finals. So those are the 5 players. Boshin was on Mollywhoppers last time, but the final 4 roster they had was just a completely different lineup from what they had last month. So that explains a little bit how they had this big of a glow up. And I was confused. Like, Corona Beer was very adamant about this team's going to win, and not just Corona Beer, but several other people in the Low Ink pre-show were hyping up Mollywhoppers a lot. And I was like, what do you guys know that I don't? And I wasn't the one who verified that team, unless I was. But going back and look at it, it's like, oh, okay, now I understand. these guys got some cracked players. That's not to say that players on last month's Mollywhoppers team aren't cracked in their own right, because they consistently make alpha bracket. But when you add in some Snowfall players, an INKD player, and then the Quack Attack themselves, who is a really strong K-Gal player, you kind of understand why Mollywhoppers had this big jump up from last month to this month. Now, all these players, again, as I said, normal low-ink players, and you feel good. Here's what I feel really good about. I feel good about the Snowfall players. I do, because Snowfall is a team that had a lot of heartbreaking moments in Alpha Bracket. There was that 1 month where Snowfall played on Saturday. The 6 teams they played on Saturday were all Alpha Bracket. All the teams they got fed in Swiss ended up in Alpha Bracket. And they beat all of them. They went 6-0 against nothing but Alpha Bracket. They literally played Saturday and Sunday the entirety of Alpha Bracket, and they still couldn't win that low ink, even though they were beating all of them up to that point. And they also, November, finished in second place to Guerrilla Tactics. That was the low ink where you knew if you won it, you were going to be in high ink. So they just missed the opportunity to play in high ink. And you kind of like that. Those are players you root for. I don't know anything about Strawberry and Footman number 3. I guess they could be jerks IRL for all I know. Or they could be absolutely wonderful people. I'm not trying to say one thing or another. What I'm saying is I know they struggled through low ink and had a lot of heartbreaking losses over the course of the last several months. So to see a team go from that to see players finally reach the pinnacle and struggle. We'll look at what they did in Alpha Bracket. They struggled to get all the way up to that point. So to see them finally win it, that's a feel-good story, and that's something you feel good about. But for the rest of Molly Whoppers, are we going to see this team name again? I mean, this is like a project that seems to just kind of bring in some players, like different players every month. Are we going to see like a new group form and call themselves the Molly Whoppers and try to do it again? I don't know. Would we even allow that? Would we ban, should we ban your team name if it's the same name of a team that's already won low ink in the past, just to avoid confusion? I don't know. But for the players that won, and for the Molly Whopper brand in general, because I have no idea who played all of Saturday or Sunday or anything like that. We just know who played in winners and grands. You feel good for Molly Whoppers in general. I'm sorry it put you number 10. My bad, okay? I at least put you on the list. Some people can say I completely dissed them all together, but might not even put them on there. I at least got you guys on there somewhere. The Molly Whoppers also broke the rule that I said on my stream Friday. They went 6-0. Not only did they go 6-0 on Saturday, they pinged me about it. Or Corona Beer pinged me about it on Twitter. And I'm like, you clearly did not listen to anything I said on Friday about how teams go 6-0 and they get overexcited about it and they overhype it and then kind of run into the buzzsaw early on Sunday. Well, they went 6-0. They beat their chest about it and then backed it up. They talked the talk and they walked the walk. They only dropped one game. They lost one game, period, on Saturday. They went 17-1. We've had teams go 18-0 before and still fail to win, but 17-1, pretty impressive there for the Molly Whoppers. They didn't go undefeated, technically, in their low ink 1 because they lost one game at Grand Finals, or they lost one match in Grand Finals. A bracket reset. When you get put into a bracket reset, it counts as a loss. So they did technically not join the 4 undefeated teams all time. That would be Splatter Swim, Rising Matrix, Xylo, and Pursuit. I believe they're the 6th team all time to go 6-0 in Swiss and win low ink the next day, but they don't join that elite group of 4 undefeated teams that didn't lose a single match. Still impressive nonetheless. We'll discuss Alpha a little bit more later because there's a lot to talk about there. And we're not looking at my top 10. We're not looking at the rest of my top 10 here. It was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad. We'll do better next month. My bad, Molly Whoppers. At least you're on there. Before we get into it a little bit more, we'll take a sip. And we'll focus on some other events that took place this weekend. It's time for now the weekly recap. SOS number 66 took place on Wednesday before Low Ink happened on the weekend. It was won by Rising Wave in dominant fashion, 4-1 over Tempest. In fact, that one loss they took to Tempest was the only loss they took all day long. They went 19 and 1. Wow, Rising Wave. I see you guys. Very impressive win, very in dominant fashion across the board there. Keep your eyes on Rising Wave. I don't know what happened to them, but they took some frustration on out a lot of players in that SOS tournament right there. Opponent Extermination got third place there. Hammerhead Bracket was won by Panko Fan Club. I don't know who Panko is, but a lot of people really appreciate Panko, apparently. Mako Bracket won by Black Magic, and Lantern won by Acropora. In the Zone, I believe the 25th edition of In the Zone took place on Saturday during Low Ink. Hollow was the team that won this tournament. Outlookers came in second place. Third was Snowcone. Outlookers was the number 13 seed. Hollow was the number 2 seed. So who was the number 1 seed? I don't know. It was on challenge, so you can't see the rosters unless you put it forth a lot of effort to look into the rosters. And it was just an emoji of a cube, an ice cube, I believe. So I just assume it was some sort of FT Win Starburst pickup or whatever, but I have no absolute idea who that is. Thank you, High Level, for being as confusing as possible, as always. Hollow winning second place. Man, I really want to see Hollow play Alliance Rogue, play FT Win, play Starburst. I want that kind of tournament. Can we set something up like that? Jackpot. I want to see something like that. 51 teams in total played in the In the Zone tournament. Outside of In the Zone, there was also Squid Junction number 22 that took place later that night for the NA tournament. In a favored tournament. Noob Squad won this tournament, made up of Taco Voice, Synopse, and Xbox Lover. Okay. Homies took second place, and 4 Beans took third. So between Squid Junction and In the Zone, you had 67 teams that played in a tournament on Saturday that did not play in Low Ink. How many did we have officially? I think 72. That doesn't include all the people who dropped and didn't officially check in, but Battlefly had 72, so 67 teams, almost just as many teams played in a non-Low Ink tournament that actually played in Low Ink. Seems very active. They just need, if you build tournaments, they will come out and play for them. So congratulations. And I'm fine. You know, as a Low Ink TO, and JPEG would absolutely say this too, we're fine with In the Zone running at the same time as Low Ink. It doesn't really hurt our viewership that much. We'll raid whoever is streaming it afterwards, and our participation doesn't hurt either, because if teams are Low Ink, they're probably not going to play in the Zone anyways, and all the teams that do play in the Zone are banned from Low Ink. So it works out. We love In the Zone running at the same time with Low Ink. Come after us. Pick on us. We're at the same size as you. Leave Little Squid League alone. Friday Night Frenzy. I guess I'm going out of order as far as like how all these things appeared during the course of the week, but who cares? Friday Night Frenzy took place on Fridays. Nice, thank you, Popgun. We were curious about that. This was the grand final set. Makashera got 3-0 over Marine Melody. Squid Killers got a 1-3 over Prism. That set up a grand finals between Makashera over Prism that wasn't crazy competitive, and they beat them 4-0. Makashera being your official Season 3 champions of Friday Night Frenzy. Squid Killers taking them third place overall in that one. Marine Melody, hey, shout out to them. Personally, I did not pick them to make the playoffs, and they did, and finished in 4th place. That is nothing to sneeze at. So, the 4th season of Friday Night Frenzy has already been announced. Check the Twitter for that information, but the target market teams that they're looking for is a little bit different this time around. Looks like it's Divs 4 through 6, targeting kind of alpha bracket teams, so make sure you sign up for that. Might be the last one before Splatoon 3, who knows? I guess Falco would. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by nobody. But I will just say this out loud in a non-sponsor related way. I'm really craving some Papa John's pizza, and I hear they got a $13 stuffed crust deal going on. I wouldn't mind eating that and then washing it down with an ice cold glass of Red Bull. So, no official sponsor for the weekly recap, but I'm just saying those things out loud in a non-sponsorish kind of way. Yay, Low Tide City. Let's move along. Hey, somebody left a highlighted message, and I miss it. $13 for one slice. Where do we at here? Harry said, also, if alphabetical order was a tiebreaker, then I wouldn't be surprised if there was an alphabetical order for ASCII. Just put it explanation as alphabetical first letter. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And now, again, it turns out that's not the actual tiebreaker, but if it was, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Melee with port priority. I would definitely give myself the small advantage if it ever popped up like that. But that's not the actual case. Tiebreaker by registration time is a TO. You can't argue against that. That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I understand why people sign up late for low ink. It's because you don't really know if you're going to have 4 people available for an entire weekend until that weekend kind of comes up. So I understand people that sign up late. As much as I kind of like encourage people to sign up early, I understand a lot of people have to wait to the last minute to know if they can sign up or not. But tiebreaker based off of registration time? We get more views if we do the play-in game. Let's look at some matches from Swiss. We'll look at Gamma, Beta, and Alpha. We'll call it a day. Heterino. Well, I'll have to set up a price for what the sponsorship is going to be for the weekly recap when that thing actually becomes sponsored. Swiss matches of note. I don't got a ton. Just a couple I wanted to kind of highlight here. First off, Red Pacific got a 2-1 win over Inked INKD. I'm pointing this out not to kick INKD because I know they didn't have the best tournament by their standards. But you got to give credit to Red Pacific here. This is a quality win for them, a big glow-up win for them. This was a team that went 2-4 last month, able to knock off an alpha bracket contender in INKD. And we'll talk a little bit more about Red Pacific because they did great things all weekend long and deserve some credit there. Definitely want to point that out, though. That might have been the difference between them getting Beta and Alpha, or Beta and Gamma. Molly Whoppers got a 2-1 win over Aquatic Vanguard. So normally when I like to point out in this segment, when the champion overall of Alpha Bracket lost in Swiss, but that never happened. This was the only time. Aquatic Vanguard was the only team to take one game away from Molly Whoppers on Saturday. As we see, Aquatic Vanguard ended up going into third place right there. So you got to give them third place of Alpha Bracket. So give them some props. That shows how strong both of these teams were, that this was the only result to go 2-1 in Molly Whoppers' way on Saturday. INKD did get a 2-1 win over Squid Killers. Now, both of these teams, Alpha Bracket contenders, top 10 teams, will be in the top 10 next month as well. They deserve it. They're strong teams. One of the reasons why they didn't make Alpha Bracket, unfortunately, they had to play each other. And this is why Swiss kind of sucks, is that this match, Squid Killers versus INKD, which could very well be like a winner's semifinal matchup, they played each other in round 2 of Swiss. And this is, once again, this is the issue with Swiss, is that you can get this kind of matchup in round frickin' 2. Looks like it was a close match going in INKD's way. Well, if you complain about Swiss all the time, why is it there for low ink? There's nothing else better. I promise you, trust me, there is nothing better. There's not a better format for Saturday than Swiss. we get through it and also creates interesting underground matches. Speaking of which, one of the teams that participated in it, the Delicious Nuggets, one of the reasons why they did not get a tiebreaker straight up with personal win percentage over Pajamas is because they got a 2-1 win over Mafia. Yes, Mafia, a team we're going to talk about later because they had a great tournament themselves, was able to take one game away from the Delicious Nuggets. Now, personal win percentage, when you beat a team 2-0, win that third game. Do not throw. Do not use crazy special, like, oh, let's see if we can win using quad bamboo or something. No, win that third game. If Delicious Nuggets win this third game against Mafia, there is no underground bracket. They make the 8th spot straight up, but because Mafia took one game away from them, lower the Delicious Nuggets personal win percentage. I'm not saying the Nuggets through. I don't know anything about this set. That's not what I'm getting at here, because I've seen other teams throw that third game just to kind of cheese out a third win. No, win that third game at all costs. Otherwise, you might be playing in a play-in bracket on Sunday morning. But shout outs to Mafia for taking one game off and making things interesting. The Mafia screwed up the bracket for everybody. I love it. My winners from the Swiss stage, and I got several of them here. First off, the other team to go 6-0 deserves some credit. Outside of the Molly Whoppers, it was GG, wasn't it? They went 6-0 with key wins over Revamp, Sandstorm, Tsunami, INKD, Acropora, and Ocean 7, soon to be rebranded to Atlantic Ocean 7, so they're alphabetically superior. GG, wasn't it? 6-0, fell for the 6-0 curse, but that doesn't mean you don't get credit for going 6-0 regardless on Saturday. The team with the highest opponent win percentage, Sandstorm Tsunami, went 4-2, but their opponent win percentage was 72.2%. That's pretty high. I wonder what their opponent's win percentage was. Battlefy, show us that information. That'd be hilarious for us to see that stupid stat. Key wins over Blob Obler Bathymetry, Rising Hope 2, Red Pacific, the Yummy Stars, and took games away from Ocean 7 and GG, wasn't it? Never got swept all day long. Toughest schedule, able to find 4 wins off of it. Of course you're going to find your way into Alpha Bracket with that. No tiebreaker match needed. Mystic Inc., a team that finished near the bottom of 2 USC tournaments, played in their first low ink ever and was able to find the way into Alpha Bracket. I forgot to put down who all they got some key wins against, but that doesn't diminish the fact that they had a good run altogether. We did not, just looking at how they did in that USC tournament, they deserve some credit for making Alpha Bracket here a big glow up for them overall, and welcome to low ink in your first one. Intimidation Factor went 4-2 with key wins over Devil's Anchor, Infinity, NSIP. What is this name? What does that stand for? Names, I forget what NSIP stood for, but somebody in chat knows, I'm sure. I guess they added tint. I guess one of their players added tint to their name or something like that. I don't know. They pinged me on Twitter. I know they added Kimmy, who I believe is a bamboo player. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm thinking of Kiwi or Kiki. Maybe I just think if your name starts with KI, you're a bamboo player. But Intimidation Factor deserves a little credit here for going 4-2, making Alpha Bracket. I think we'll look at them again in a minute. Devil's Anchor went 3-3. A glow up from a 2-4 result last month where they got key wins over Everglade, Infinity, and Dakwan Grindset. No idea what that means, but Devil's Anchor, a little bit of a bump up from last month, trending into the right direction. That is true? They do use bamboo? What is true? What am I missing here? Red Pacific went 4-2 in this tournament with key wins over INKD, Up the Ante, Full Moon, and the Coconut Kittens. Sorry, Full Moon. I don't know how to pronounce that last word, and I'm not going to embarrass myself more than I do. They do use bamboo. Fair enough. Kiki, Kiwi, and Kimmy, all in that same kind of quadrant there. Red Pacific, they went 2-4 last month, going 4-2 this month, flipping the script, making it into beta bracket, and if there was a drop, probably would have found their way into Alpha Bracket. They were the number 1 seed in Beta. Nicely done there, Red Pacific. The Mafia went 3-3, making Beta Bracket after barely making Gamma Bracket the month prior with key wins over Bunui, the Deck Hecklers, Sommerzite. And they never got swept either. Their losses were to Crimson Quake, Splat-A-Lot, and the Delicious Nuggets, all of whom they took at least one game off of, losses 1-2. That a boy Mafia go down swinging. We like to see it. Blob Obler Bathymetry, 4-2 in their, I guess, first and only low ink that they might be playing in. Key wins over Ship Shape, Intimidation Factor, OK Wimmer. This is a team that is going to be playing in Low Tide City. That is why they played in this tournament, as a warm-up for Low Tide City. So this was a little bit of preview here. They went to Alpha Bracket, did pretty decent. I believe we'll look at that in a second. So, hey, we see you. Thanks for using low ink to warm up, and we'll see you guys later this weekend. Revamp went 4-2 with key wins over Myopsidus, OK Wimmer, Infinity. Alpha Bracket in their first low ink appearance, which always makes you think, pickup project. What is this? Actual team. Revamp sounds like an actual team name, so I'm going to call them that until declared otherwise. 4-2 first Alpha Bracket, first low ink. Solaris. These guys went from a very low 2-4 last month to 3-3 this time around, making Beta Bracket with key wins over Red Pacific, Everglade, in the Tropical Turtles. Hats off to Solaris, making Beta Bracket after missing Gamma the month prior. The biggest winner from Saturday goes out to the one and only Surf and Turf team, going 4-2 with an opponent win percentage of 66.7%. Key wins over the idiots in chat, Mystic Inc., Dive, and Random.org, the team that won Gamma Bracket. Surf and Turf making Alpha Bracket. Surf and Turf, super crazy old team. I want to say has made Alpha Bracket back in like 2020. Maybe early 2021, but this is the first time Surf and Turf has been back in Alpha Bracket in a long ass time. Congratulations to you guys. Good to see you get back up there. Now stay there. Be a contender going forward. The Saturday stuff, or the Sunday stuff, starting with Gamma Bracket, and there's a little bit of explanation that needs to be done with the Gamma Bracket. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Hey, Pop Gun. There's only 8 teams here. Yeah, we had less teams sign up this time around, like a borderline team. If one more team had dropped before we went live on Saturday, we would have just done one Swiss group. Because I think we were at 64 when we hit live of teams that didn't check in and dropped. And that would have, if we did one Swiss group with 64 teams, it would have made you guys do 7 rounds of Swiss. So we're like, nah, we're not about that. So that's why we did 2 groups. But it did make Gamma a little bit difficult. We don't have like a set number. If like this many teams drop by the end of Saturday, we're going to do Gamma, or if we don't. Last December, we didn't do a Gamma. This time around, we felt like it was best to do a compromise. Instead of just doing a Gamma Bracket that's got teams in it that go 0-6 on Saturday, let's just make it an 8 team. So we still have a Gamma Bracket to some extent. It's not as big, and I was curious to see what had happened. So I feel like this was a good compromise here. And I see Revamp is actual Twitter. That makes them a legit team. I see that. Thank you. The teams that went on here now, with only 8 teams, was it more competitive? Well, looking at it, a lot of sweeps across the board here, especially round 1. The most competitive match being against Dive. Was this you got a couple in here. So I don't know. I mean, I think we can do this again. If it gets to the situation where we have this many teams, I think an 18 Gamma's fine. This one didn't look crazy competitive, but I think that's just the sense of that Gamma Bracket's always kind of stuck in that situation where you got teams that fall to it. Now you're just like, these teams don't need to be here. Aquatic Vanguard won Gamma Bracket last month, and now they're 3rd place in Alpha Bracket. Yume Stars won it in January. It's like this seems like the who fell down here and who feels like actually playing it at this when you make it a top 8, because those other 16 teams or these other 8 teams would be like the lower end teams who would love to play in a Gamma bracket. So I don't know. There's more to be thought out here, but I'm glad we at least played a Gamma bracket. I feel like it's a fair compromise. The team that won this here, random.org, who are these guys? Essentially, it is Broken Controller Gaming, or at least players from Broken Controller Gaming, which makes sense as to why they won this one and how they ended up here. You don't think that's are you posting some random revamped Twitter account in chat? I'm not. This is why I never pay attention to the chat. You guys just make up stuff. So random.org playing Dive here was the most competitive match, and Dive ended up in second place. Why is this competitive? Because Dive has always been good. These guys have always been beta bracket contenders. They've just had a rough couple of Saturdays, and these two teams are like definitely beta level. They just kind of fell down here, and at least they were having some competitive sets. Hats off to random.org, a.k.a. Broken Controlling Gaming players. If somebody can find the random.org Twitter account and put that in chat, feel free to go ahead. Beta bracket. Let's move along. Move along. Hey, we got 16 teams here. There's more stuff to talk about. Now, as competitive as this bracket was, as you can see with grand finals, it was really something here. It could have been even better. It could have been even better. There's a lot of teams that dropped as soon as Saturday ended. They were just like, oh, we failed a beta. Nah, bye. And again, I've said this before. This is a trend that's been going on since we started doing beta bracket. There are teams that realize the only thing we have to gain from this tournament is to win it. We've won beta bracket before. There's no value in going out and winning beta bracket again. So I'm not going to condemn teams who drop from beta bracket because it's not the one they want. I understand it. I'm not going to condemn it. I'm also not going to condone it. Personally, as a spectator, somebody who just looks at this bracket, I would like to see those teams play, but I'm not going to feel bad if they don't at all. It is what it is. Which is a great statement to say of not answering any questions in any way. But the teams that did actually play here, Pajamas, this was the team that lost the underground bracket. Look, the underground bracket produced the second place alpha bracket team and the second place gamma beta bracket team. That match. It changed a lot. That match determined a lot on Sunday. It really did. Splat Zone's Mako Mart. I really wish I recorded that one. But Pajamas, if you recall, was the team I had number 1 overall, because this was essentially that Squirrels German team pickup that finished second place last month with some new players. But this was still like the very strong German team in general. So that's why I had them at my number 1, and just a rough Saturday. Just took 2 L's, and opponent's opponent win percentage just didn't work out in their favor, apparently, I guess. Some teams that deserves a little shout out here, though. Up the Ante. Again, another one of those teams you would like to see in alpha, but played this out anyways. 2-1 over Boston Squid Party. Boston Squid Party is these guys are getting close. These guys are getting close to being kind of serious. You can just kind of tell. That one match we had them on last month, where that Tetra player, I believe it was Caleb, was it, just ripped people apart on that match, and they're taking games away from Up the Ante, beat the Full Moon, lost the idiots in chat, but still, Boston Squid Party, we need to keep an eye on these guys. But Up the Ante took Pajamas to a game 5, and then they're the team that made the losers run this time around. Coconut Kittens, Intimidation Factor, Red Pacific, Shadow Eclipse, making it all the way to third place right there. We see you, Up the Ante, and we will see you this weekend, because Up the Ante is playing in Low Tide City. Red Pacific, I talked about these guys. They went 2-4 last month. They went 4-2 this time around, made beta bracket and made the most of it. 2-0 Pufferfish Party, 3-1 over Splat-A-Lot. Hey! And then Freelancing Takoyaki said, get out of here. And Up the Ante put them out. That doesn't mean this was a good weekend. Very good weekend for Red Pacific. We'll see what they do next month. Is this now the standard, or was this an anomaly? We will see. But You can't you can't make this kind of run in beta brackets and Saturday without being a good team. You can't accidentally do stuff like that. Lastly, Illumini deserves a little bit of a shout out here. Lost in round 1 to Intimidation Factor, beat NSIP and Splat-A-Lot A before Idiots in Chat ended them. I believe, they posted on their Twitter that this was going to be the last tournament they ever do. They're disbanding. They're hanging up their splatter shots and calling it a day. So we put them on stream on Swiss because we wanted to give them like a little shout out. It's like, hey, thanks for playing in all the lowings. You guys were a long time, played in a lot of lowings. I want to give them a little shout out here as well. Alpha bracket, yeah, I think they made every bracket at some extent. Back when they went by Ink Eye. So hats off, even though it's a lot of effort to take all this off. Hats off, Illumini. We saw you guys at Riptide. And maybe we'll see you back in Splatoon 3. Who knows? It was good to see you while you were here. The grand finals of this one. Yikes. This is a bloodbath. So Pajamas and Freelancing Takoyaki. Pajamas, my number 1 team, fell to beta. Freelancing Takoyaki has made alpha bracket all the time, but this one time they fell to beta, they made the most of it. So, hey, Idiots in Chat, got to give you guys a little bit of a shout out as well. It looks like here. Coconut Kittens almost beat the team that won the entire thing. Illumini, Boston Squid Party. Not bad, Idiots in Chat. One of the best teams that used a pop gun related name ever, as far as I can tell. Usually pop gun related team names do horrible in tournaments. So Idiots in Chat, nicely done. Make alpha bracket next time, though. Come on. Freelancing Takoyaki definitely deserves some credit here. Game 5 against Pajamas. Game 5 in this one. They played 15 times. They played each other 15 times. My goodness. So what was the overall record here? Pajamas 3-5-8. 3-6-8. Oh, wait. No, that's not how. 3-5-7. So Pajamas won 7 games. Freelancing Takoyaki won 8. This could be an alpha bracket grand finals. This legit could be. I want to see if these two teams play again next week. We're putting it on stream, or next month. We're putting it on stream. This is insane kind of matchup. 15 times these two teams played against each other, and they only 1 game separates them. 8 wins for Freelancing, 7 for Pajamas. Maybe Loic will get big enough some point to where we can have a second stream that goes and just streams beta bracket. We're not there yet. Well, how come we don't stream all 3 brackets? Bro, we have like 1 streamer, and like sometimes they're struggling to get commentators. If we ever get big enough to be that point, it's going to be cool to see and commentate these kinds of matches because this looks hype AF. We're not there yet, though. Before we get into alpha, against my better judgment, somebody left a highlighted message. It's so sad. Both teams we lost to in beta bracket, we won to on Saturday. Just lost our morale near the end, and you can't win if you don't feel like you don't have the motivation to. I mean, that we talk about that all the time. Just motivation, where you are in the set, and it's hard to beat a team twice regardless, because usually when you beat a team the first time, when they play you again, they're kind of pissed off and they feel like, hey, we didn't need to lose to you guys, and now that we get to control what the maps are if we lose, flips the script a little bit there. Doesn't diminish your guys' results at all, but definitely mentality plays a lot into what happens here in these lowings. Alpha bracket, we've already talked about delicious nuggets and molly whoppers to some extent. Some other things I want to point out here. Of course, this doesn't surprise. If you paid attention to Lowing, this shouldn't surprise you. GG wasn't it? This was a good glow up for them, but just kind of ran into the buzzsaw of the delicious nuggets, who probably were really hyped that they were even in this tournament regardless, this bracket regardless. Doesn't mean they didn't do good. 2-1 Surf and Turf, 2-0 Crimson Quake. Wow, I just now saw that. That's impressive. Before getting knocked out by Your Lag Paradise. So GG wasn't a big glow up for them regardless, considering where they were last month. Other things that kind of need to be pointed out here, this Ocean 7 Crimson Crate matchup, this had a lot of access denied versus Kraken United vibes going for it. Same kind last month. So last month, access denied and Kraken United played on stream in winners quarterfinals, and you got the sense of like, oh, this is like a grand finals kind of preview potentially. But what you ended up seeing was Kraken United sweeping access denied in a statement win, and it made you go, oh, well, Kraken United's on something today. And then you just never saw Kraken United again. And when we got the losers bracket, I was like, whoa, they got eliminated early? Who knocked them out? It's always these new teams that come out of nowhere that spoil the story for these name brand teams. You like to see it. That's what makes Lowing so awesome. Same thing happened here, though. Ocean 7, Crimson Quake. I sent the commentators for this one. I sent them a lot of information. Like, this is going to be a hype set to commentate. I would have loved to commentate this one, but it was a hype set nonetheless. Until it was Ocean 7 getting a 3-0 sweep over Crimson Quake, which, again, just like last month, a statement win for Ocean 7. Because Crimson Quake was looking really good. They were looking really good on Saturday. They swept Delicious Nuggets on stream in round 6 to qualify for Alpha Bracket straight up 5-1. And then we just didn't see Ocean 7 again. It doesn't diminish anything for Ocean 7. It's just you saw how badly they beat Crimson Quake and you thought, wow, these guys are on something today. And then they just ran into the Molly Whopper Buzzsaw. And who knocked them out? Yummy Stars? Fair enough. I just want to point this out. It's just so interesting. You see a team play really strong on stream, and then they just this new teams out of nowhere just kind of steal the party. Again, flying under the radar seems to be the right way to go here, even though Molly Whoppers went 6-0. Other teams that kind of deserve a little bit of shout out here. This match right here. I believe Your Lag Paradise was up 2-0 or 2-1 at one point over the Molly Whoppers, and I was surprised Molly Whoppers came back, but this is why it wasn't easy for Molly Whoppers. Like, they struggled. They had to go to a Game 5 against Your Lag Paradise, who ultimately got eliminated in round 4 right here. But this one appeared to be pretty close. I was watching this one, and this was like as the scores were getting turned in, and it looked like Molly Whoppers were about to get whopped out. This match right here, Yummy Stars versus Aquatic Vanguard. I know this was a 2-0 result. And Aquatic Vanguard poking a lot of bears here, making a lot of rivalries along the way. Reverse swept Yummy Stars. Delicious Nuggets went to a Game 5 twice, beat the Yummy Stars again. Aquatic Vanguard, definitely a glow-up tournament for them. Making a lot of noise here. Along their way. Is there anybody else I want to talk about here? I don't think so. Obviously, My Obsidious making the usual trip. Acropore making the usual trip. Acropore has pointed out they didn't want to be on stream on Sunday. Fair enough. If you guys go to Help Desk and say, I don't want to be on stream on Saturday, I'll do my best to avoid you. I honestly, because I hated being on stream during Swiss and group stage. There was a point where Destiny Troops was on stream all the freaking time on group and Swiss stage. I was like, Stop putting us on all the time. When it gets to bracket stage, though, you got to be on stream at some point. If you're going to win Low Ink, you have to be on stream. But if it's Swiss, I'll try to avoid you guys. If you guys are vocal about not being on stream, I'll try to avoid you. Blue Moon's kind of been vocal about it as well. But when it gets to this, we have to follow a certain path to make sure we get to where we don't like double stream a team several times, which is why we go like 6, 12, 13. So that means these 3 matches are going to be brand new teams you haven't seen. You can't overlap teams until you get to winter finals. So it's predetermined. But Acropora off stream did pretty good here. Got a couple of wins in losers bracket. Quick shout out for them. Last thing I want to point out. I didn't realize this until JPEG kind of pointed it out. Aquatic Vanguard, who finished in 3rd place here, won Gamma Bracket last month. Delicious Nuggets finished in 2nd place, won Beta Bracket last month. So there you go. And again, that comes down to, these teams are just better than what they finished last month. Is Delicious Nuggets a Beta Bracket team? No. What they showed all these teams on Saturday, they're not a Beta Bracket team. Are Aquatic Vanguard and Gamma Bracket team? Nope, absolutely not. And I didn't put Aquatic Vanguard in my top 10. And, geez, I got to put them somewhere in there now. These guys are crazy good. Crazy good. So this is the future. We got 4 more months left. Molly Whoppers being one of the last 5 teams ever to win low ink in the Splatoon 2 era. Only 4 more. Who's it going to be? Is Aquatic Vanguard going to get one? Is Delicious Nuggets going to come back and get one? Is Yummy Stars going to escape with one? Is Ocean 7 Crimson Quake? We got a lot of name brand teams now that's going to make this exciting, these next 4 months really exciting to watch. One thing I want to point out, the stream is breaking records every single time. People worry, oh, less teams are signing up for low ink. Oh, the game's dying because Splatoon 3 got a release date now. Less people are going to pay attention. Nope. We broke a brand new record in low ink. We had 345 people watching low ink live. We peaked at 345. That's, oh my good, that is a crazy number for a skill cap tournament on Twitch. The average, I believe, was 230 for Sunday. That we are putting up some really insane. Now, other esports are like, bruh, our C-list commentator who streams the game on their personal channel will average twice that. Like, okay, cool. For Splatoon standard, this many people watching a tournament consistently is amazing. Low ink stream is just getting more and more and more attention, and it helps when things go to bracket reset. I get that, but still, even when the name brand teams don't make grand finals, people are still going to watch it because they know it's going to be a hype time. Low ink's going to be great. 4 more of them before Splatoon 3 comes out. It's going to be a bloodbath to try to escape before Splatoon 3. A few highlight messages and we'll call it a day. My Like Paradise, we lost game 2 to one of our teammates DCing. Oh, that sucks. Someone on has having issues round 1. If it weren't for that, I imagine we could have gotten the win. Yes, showing up is half the battle, but yeah, DCs are definitely unfortunate, but they happen. Riley says the fact that we actually have our has the chat been blocked this entire time? Oops. Oh well. The fact that we actually have our real rosters for 5 of next month is presumably, hopefully it doesn't mean we'll just do it then, just not to discourage if we have the next sleeper month, kind of, that's normal. Fair enough. 4 more months to go. With that being said, if you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, if you want to come up and talk to me at Low Tide City, we'll do I obviously I won't be back on Monday, so I can't do the Low Tide City recap on Monday. I'll be on an airplane. So probably Tuesday afternoon, we'll do the Low Tide City recap. So make sure you come back for that. Twitter, Mr._Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok and Mr._Popgun. My apologies to the YouTube audience. I think I might have had chat blocked the entire time and I wasn't paying attention. I promise you nobody said anything interesting, so don't worry about it. Let's find somebody to raid. And I read off all the highlighted messages anyway. Let's raid Watson. Get vaccinated, wear a mask. If you go to Low Tide City, you have to do that anyways. So why not do it now? You have to do it for any lands. Popgun's lying to you. I never lie. Unless I do.